James is 72. He just finished a little yard work, nothing strenuous, just trimming a hedge on a mild afternoon. But when he stood up, the world tilted for a second. His mouth felt dry. He couldn't remember the last time he'd had a glass of water, and even though he'd been sitting still for 10 minutes, he still felt unusually tired. James figured this was just what getting older feels like. But when he mentioned it to his healthcare provider, she asked him a simple question. How much water have you had today? Could something as simple as not getting enough fluids be affecting how you feel every day? Today, we're going to walk through 7 possible signs of dehydration in adults over 60, why they happen, and what you can do about them. Stick around, because sign number 7 is one that many families completely overlook. Here's something many people don't realize. As we age, our sense of thirst often becomes less reliable. Research from the National Institute on Aging suggests that the body's thirst signal can weaken over time, which means an older adult may already be low on fluids before they ever feel thirsty. Think of thirst as an alert system. In a younger adult, that alert tends to sound early and clearly. In an older adult, the same alert may be quieter or arrive later than it used to. The body still needs the fluids either way. It's just less likely to ask for them on time. On top of that, several common factors can increase the risk of dehydration after 60. Certain medications, like some diuretics and laxatives, can increase fluid loss. Illness, especially with fever, vomiting, or diarrhea, can deplete fluids quickly. And some older adults intentionally drink less water because of concerns about frequent bathroom trips. None of this means dehydration is inevitable. It simply means it's worth paying closer attention. So let's go through the 7 signs, one at a time. And before we start, let's clear up a common myth. Many people believe, if I'm thirsty, I'll know when to drink. But as we just mentioned, thirst can become a less reliable signal with age. That's exactly why these 7 signs matter. The first sign is a dry mouth or dry, cracked lips that don't seem to improve with lip balm alone. This can happen because when fluid levels drop, the body produces less saliva. It's one of the earliest and most common signs healthcare professionals look for. Of course, dry mouth can have other causes too, including certain medications or breathing through the mouth at night. That's why it's helpful to look at this sign alongside the others we'll cover today, rather than on its own. The next sign is one that catches a lot of people off guard, especially when they stand up quickly. The second sign is feeling dizzy or lightheaded when standing up from sitting or lying down. This happens because blood volume can decrease slightly when the body doesn't have enough fluids, which can cause a brief drop in blood pressure upon standing. Healthcare professionals sometimes refer to this as orthostatic hypotension. This is an important one to mention to a healthcare provider, especially because dizziness can also increase the risk of falls. If this happens often, it deserves attention, not because it's necessarily serious, but because getting evaluated helps rule out other possible causes, like medication side effects or blood pressure changes. The third sign is something almost everyone has felt, but many people never connect it to hydration. The third sign is fatigue, or a sense of unusual weakness, the kind that isn't explained by a poor night's sleep or a hard workout. When the body doesn't have enough fluids, it has to work harder to keep blood flowing efficiently to the brain, muscles, and other organs. That extra effort can leave someone feeling drained, even after rest. Fatigue can come from many sources: sleep quality, thyroid function, medications, and more. That's part of why we're covering 7 signs together instead of just one. When several of these appear at once, it may be worth having a broader conversation with a healthcare provider. Sign number 4 is one you can actually observe for yourself, quietly, at home. The fourth sign is darker coloured urine, or urinating noticeably less often than usual. According to the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, urine colour can be a helpful, though not perfect, indicator of hydration status. Generally, a pale, light yellow colour suggests adequate fluid intake, while darker shades may suggest the body needs more fluids. It's worth remembering that certain supplements, medications, and foods can change urine colour too, so this sign works best as one piece of the bigger picture, not a diagnosis on its own. Here's something that surprises a lot of people. Many older adults don't realize they can become mildly dehydrated even during cooler months, not just in summer. Heated indoor air, lighter winter thirst cues, and simply drinking less when it's cold outside can all play a role. The fifth sign tends to show up at the most inconvenient time, the middle of the night. The fifth sign is muscle cramps, especially in the legs or calves, often at night. Fluids help carry electrolytes like sodium, potassium, and magnesium minerals that muscles depend on to contract and relax properly. When fluid and electrolyte levels shift, cramping can become more likely. Muscle cramps can also be related to circulation, certain medications, or mineral levels, which is something we covered in our magnesium video. If cramping is frequent, it's a good idea to bring it up with a healthcare provider so the cause can be properly explored. Sign number 6 is one nearly everyone has experienced, but few people connect it to how much water they've had that day. The sixth sign is headaches that seem to appear without an obvious cause. Mild fluid loss can affect blood flow and volume in ways that may contribute to headaches for some people. Research from the Cleveland Clinic and Mayo Clinic notes that dehydration is a recognized, though not universal, headache trigger. Headaches have many possible causes, from tension to blood pressure to vision changes. But if headaches often show up after a day of low fluid intake, hydration may be worth looking at more closely. And now, the final sign is the one many families overlook, because it's easy to mistake for something else entirely. The seventh sign is difficulty concentrating, mental fog, or feeling more forgetful than usual. The brain depends on proper fluid balance to function at its best. Some studies suggest that even mild dehydration may be associated with short-term changes in concentration and mood in older adults. This is an important sign to take seriously, but also one to view with perspective. Memory and concentration changes can have many possible causes, and occasional forgetfulness is a normal part of life at any age. If confusion is new, sudden, or getting worse, it deserves a prompt conversation with a healthcare provider, not because it's necessarily dehydration, but because it's always worth having it properly evaluated. When James spoke with his healthcare provider, he was relieved to learn that improving hydration didn't require a complicated plan. A few simple habits made the biggest difference. First, try drinking fluids regularly throughout the day, rather than waiting until you feel thirsty. Second, many foods contribute to hydration too. Watermelon, oranges, cucumbers, tomatoes, soups, and yogurt all contain significant amounts of water. Third, remember that fluid needs can shift with weather, illness, and activity level, so it's fine to adjust intake as circumstances change. And finally, if you take medications, especially diuretics or laxatives, it's worth asking your healthcare provider whether your prescriptions could be affecting your hydration and how much fluid is right for you personally. There's no single number that works for everyone. Personalized guidance is always best. None of this means you need to track every ounce of water obsessively. It simply means building small, consistent habits, the kind that quietly add up over time. A few weeks after that conversation with his healthcare provider, James made a few small changes, keeping a water bottle nearby, adding more water-rich foods to his meals, and paying closer attention to how he felt after standing up. He still gets tired sometimes. That's normal. But now he pays closer attention to what his body is telling him. And the dizziness has eased. He feels a little more like himself. Growing older doesn't mean accepting every new symptom as normal. Sometimes your body is simply asking for more support, and listening early can help you stay healthier, stronger, and more independent. If muscle cramps or fatigue stood out to you in this video, you may also want to watch our video on magnesium and healthy aging. It explores another piece of this same puzzle, and how this often overlooked mineral supports muscles, sleep, and energy after 60. I'll leave a link right here. As always, this video is for educational purposes only and isn't a substitute for advice from your own healthcare provider. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.